I'm Courtney Lavigne. I graduated in 2002. My husband, Chris Lavigne, is also a LaSalle grad from the class of 2002. A lot of our cousins have graduated from here, and our uncle, brother Ralph Bucci, taught here for a number of years as well. When I was a student here at LaSalle, I was in a number of clubs. I was on the dance team. I was involved in theater. I kept pretty busy morning clubs that you could be involved in, after school clubs, as many as I could get my hands on. I was also a figure skater. That they didn't offer that at the school, so that was my main sport that I did outside of LaSalle. After I graduated from LaSalle, I went to a Jesuit college, which was recommended by my guidance counselor here. They kind of found it. Not many people from Rhode Island end up there, but Creighton University in Omaha, Nebraska. I majored in both biology and theology, and my second major in theology definitely came from going to LaSalle during my high school years. That's where my motivation came from. After I finished at Creighton University with those 2 degrees, I went on to the University of Connecticut for dental school. I practiced for 10 years as a cosmetic dentist in the Boston suburbs before selling my practice and going back to residency at Tufts University, and now I'm a practicing orthodontist, opening a practice right here in Providence. I think my first time in the city of Providence was when I first came to tour LaSalle. I grew up in North Kingstown, and Rhode Islanders don't always go beyond the 20-minute mark, so that was my first time coming to Providence, and I just loved being in the city. I loved being in Providence, and it was always a dream of mine to return to Providence and to work in Providence. So we moved to Massachusetts for my husband's work, but with COVID, we're able to move back to the state and become part of this community again. So we now live in Providence. I have a practice in Wakefield, and I'm opening a second location in Providence, nice and close to home. And I can't wait to be serving the community that really nurtured who I became and fostered the career that I went into. I don't think if I had gone to a different school, I would have had the same educational opportunities and ended up in the same profession that I did. And I'm really excited that through one of my best friends from LaSalle, who also graduated the same year as me, she made a connection with another LaSalle grad who was a few years behind us, and she will be finishing her orthodontic training this summer, and she's coming to work with me. So it's kind of full circle that LaSalle started my career, and it's continuing to foster success within my career. So my practice, I treat both kids and adults. I have a really big emphasis on treating the patient and meeting them where they're at. I think in healthcare, it gets lost today. It gets really hard to find practitioners that aren't just running more like a factory and trying to meet numbers. And I hope nobody ever feels like that in our practice. My entire team really feels like we're there to care for the patients from the moment they call our office to the moment they finish their treatment with us. And our entire team, I always tell them if I have to be a boss, then something's wrong, because I don't want it to ever feel like my practice. I want it to feel like our practice. And I think that by the time patients finish their orthodontic journey with us, they feel like it's partly their practice as well, because they really become part of the Anchor Orthodontics environment and culture. One of the things that I like most about owning my own practice is that I have the ability to make decisions when to give to those that need it. And I think it would have been hard for me to be employed in another practice because I'm really particular about using the latest technology, the best techniques. I don't want to shortchange any of my patients for profit or anything that's not serving the patient. And when I do have patients that come to me and let me know that they know somebody that really could use my services but can't afford them, I then get to open that door for those patients. So just last week I saw a patient, she's normally treated at a community healthcare center. I found out that her mom, even though state insurance would have covered orthodontic treatment at another office, the patient didn't feel good in that office and wanted to come to my practice because she felt cared for there. That mom took out her retirement savings to pay for her orthodontic treatment at my practice. I found that out, and that's what makes me feel I'm just so grateful to be in a profession where I can give back, because I found that out. Her other daughter needed treatment. I'm going to be treating her other daughter for free once I learned that. And her initial daughter that came to me that needed orthodontic treatment, all of the teeth were the wrong shape. She just had naturally very small teeth, so just lining them up and straightening them wouldn't have solved the problem. I used to do cosmetic dentistry for 10 years. It's my wheelhouse. I still have that skill set. And so I closed down the office to orthodontic care. I had her come in, and I did cosmetic dentistry to build up all of the teeth before moving them so that now they're the right size. And seeing the look on her face when she looked in the mirror for the first time after being able to give her that treatment that she otherwise wouldn't have had access to is so rewarding, and it's the best part of being a practice owner because I can make those decisions where it doesn't have to be about keeping the lights on every second that we're in the office, and those are the patients that stick with you the rest of your career. I went to public school through 8th grade, and I did have a really good public school journey, but when I got to LaSalle, what I found was my core group of friends were really motivated to get into really good schools and go to graduate school, and they were motivated early on, so I started to become more and more interested in finding a path that to mimic them and to be as motivated as they were. I wanted to start to look at what might be a fit for me. And growing up, my mom was a nurse at Rhode Island Hospital, so I went to Bring Your Daughter to Work Day every year, and I naturally felt inclined to go into the medical field. Somebody was always whispering in my ear about dentistry because one of my best friends from LaSalle, I actually met in infancy, and her dad, growing up, was a dentist. My college roommate, her dad was a dentist, and then my other college roommate's stepdad was a dentist. So I just had a lot of these influences. I was always thinking medical school, but I just had all of these influences in my life telling me about how artistic dentistry could be, how it met a lot of the things that I wanted to achieve through medicine. And then I worked at the dental school during my undergraduate degree and realized it was a really good fit. So it started early on in life. It was, I think, being surrounded by really motivated kids made me more motivated because I wanted to do everything they aspired to do, and it was what motivated me to look into graduate degrees and think bigger than I might have otherwise thought. Yeah, so I had a lot of teachers that really had an impact on me, but Brother Paul was one of my English teachers that, being a theology major, but then also having to write letters to referring dentists today, I use the English language so often in my day-to-day practice. And when you're a sophomore in high school, you don't necessarily realize how much you're going to use that skill set. But I remember him using these vocabulary books and making us go through and scrutinize where the commas should be and making sure we knew how to spell which there correctly and when to should have 2 O's instead of 1. And at the time, it just seemed kind of nuanced. But I feel like the impact he had on, he was hard on students, and I remember he was really hard on me, but it's stuck in the back of my mind and played into and weaved into my education throughout my career after LaSalle. I think that my entire professional career boils down to LaSalle. When I think about I'm an alumni of a lot of institutions at this point, and when I think of which part of my educational journey had the biggest impact, it was absolutely LaSalle. I think if I had stayed in the public school system that I was in, I probably wouldn't have been surrounded by those same kids. I wouldn't have been in those honor classes pushing me to look at really good colleges. And LaSalle did a great job of finding ways for me to go to a private Jesuit institution, but afford to do that when I was a full loan student at that time. And so opportunities were open for me that my parents didn't know how to provide for me. My 2 older sisters went through the public school system and didn't go to LaSalle. And looking at how our journeys have differed, and we've talked about it a lot at family events, I think LaSalle nurtured giving me the wings to, I had the motivation, and I was the person that could naturally thrive, I think, in a lot of these environments I found myself in later in life. But I think LaSalle gave me the wings to really believe in myself and take advantage of the opportunities and believe that I could be good enough to do all of those things. When I think about being a woman and being in my career, it didn't strike me growing up that it was different to be female. My mom was the breadwinner in our house. She was the one that was really career motivated. My dad used to brush and curl my hair in the morning because mom was already at work. And so she told me I could be whatever I wanted to be. And it wasn't until I was in dentistry and I started lecturing nationally, I started to realize that certain doors weren't open for me as a female, and I was treated differently in certain experiences because I was female. And that was the first time as an adult I started to realize, oh, it does mean something to be a woman, especially in a professional setting. And I think the fact that LaSalle had opened its doors a long time ago to women and is nurturing women through their education at an early age here, especially now with the middle school. If you surround yourself with people that lift you up, like a school like this, then the opportunities truly are endless. And I think LaSalle nurtures becoming an advocate for yourself as a female, even when you don't realize that's happening. I didn't, during my time at LaSalle, think of myself as different for being a female or male. I didn't think that certain opportunities would be available or not available based on being female. But when I did hit those walls and I did have to navigate some glass ceilings that were attempted to be put there for me, I feel like I had already been given the skill set through my high school and through, I'm still really good friends with my 5 core girlfriends from high school, and we're all powerhouses in terms of being able to manage being moms and being wives and being friends and managing careers as well. So I think that even if you don't know you're being empowered and given those skill sets, here you are.